Britney Jean Spears has been a cultural icon for decades, captivating audiences worldwide with her electrifying performances and iconic visuals. From her debut as a schoolgirl in Baby One More Time to her super spy escapades in Toxic, Britney's music videos have always been a highlight, showcasing her talent, creativity, and undeniable star power. Now the great pop culture debate wants to celebrate Britney's career and determine the best Britney Spears music video of all time. When I work the poll at the strip club, the crowd unanimously chants, "Gimme less." I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak. Please help me break the ice and welcome my panelists for this episode. Our first panelist got 180 degrees, and I'm caught in between. It's Curtis Creekmore.
1, 2, 3, Peter, Paul, and Mary. That's a 227 reference.
It is, and I'm going to throw it even further back. I low-key wonder what 60s folk trio Peter, Paul, and Mary think about being name-dropped in a song about a three-way. Scandalous. Next, our panelist wants nothing more than to look hot in a bikini, live in a big mansion, and party in France. Well, I guess he knows what he ought to do next. It's Jake Pitochelli.
You know, Eric, I have the best advice. People just need to get their fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work, bitch, these days, you know?
I know. And ooh, watch out now, because here he comes. I've said that before. And finally, he's the thing the old lady dropped in the ocean at the end of the movie. It's Trey Radu-Blackburn.
That is just so typically me.
Well, call this Tears of the Kingdom, because I got lost in the game. Up in the producer booth, we have Bob Erlenbach sharpening knives for his next Instagram reel. If you're curious about how we ended up with this Spears 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast or listen to the 3-minute primer available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com to find the listener bracket as well as the 16 videos we'll be discussing so you can play along with us at home. And with that out of the way, it's Britney, bitch. Let's get on these debates. First up, it's a unanimous victory for 1-seed Toxic, which proved fatal to 4-seed Gimme More. Yeah, I want to get down, even though there's no one around, for Gimme More. Listen, this is not Britney's best video. We're just going to say that. It's the lead single from Blackout, which, justice for Blackout. We were talking about this in our warm-up. I think Jake agrees with me. Trey, are you pro-Blackout? I'm not just talking about your average Friday night.
I mean, on a Friday night, sure, or like on the East Coast, no, but I think Blackout's fine, yeah.
And Curtis, you're also a Blackout fan?
I love Blackout. I think it's, would I go as far to say it's her best album? Maybe, yes.
It's her art pop, right? It's clear that this was a challenging point in Britney's life and her career. It's another multiple Britney video as a blonde Britney in a not great wig, we'll just say, watches in quasi-shock as brunette Britney works the pole at a strip club. It's not her best work, but she still looks good. The fishnets, the leather top, very hot, and the dancing is quite sexy. What I found interesting is that I don't think a single shot of this video lasts longer than 4 seconds. It still has 352 million views on YouTube, so while the pop culture industrial complex wanted you to think that this was a flop, it's still very much a successful video.
I mean, we got It's Britney, bitch from Gimme More. That's enough. And I have to say, Blackout is her best album. I will say that. I said it in the warm-up that Blackout walked so that Brad could run. It was a blackout, hot blackout summer. And as soon as I hear It's Been a While, I could kick a door off its hinges.
Yes, honey, get into it. Excellent. So that being said, Gimme More is out, and we're going to move Toxic into round 2. Next, the majority of the panel wants to grab a partner, take it down, for the Madonna duet, Me Against the Music, a 2-seed. But Trey is so excited, he's in too deep. For 3-seed, You Drive Me Crazy. Trey, tell us why you just can't sleep if Crazy gets bounced in round 1. Curtis, get in the zone and push for votes for Me Against the Music. Trey, please go first.
Absolutely. So from its washed out lighting to the dance battle between the boys and the girls and their jewel tones and their very large pants, this video really shows us like the joy that Britney had in the Y2K era of Britney.
Yeah.
And then gives us that great Y2K fashion and all that music that we all love, ironically or not. It also has achievable dance moves that people love and white people love doing their best, and that's hip-hop impressions. It also It also gave us Melissa Joan Hart and to a lesser extent Adrian Grenier, because it was a tie-in to their movie that I did not write down and I'm blanking on.
It's literally called You Drive Me Crazy.
That's what I thought. I think it's also, for me, I think it's also way more fun to watch than Me Against the Music, and the Madonna of it all really, for me, detracts from that video rather than enhances it. And I know that I am going to make some of my Gen X gays sad by saying that Madonna's fine, but don't put her in a Britney.
I'm the only Gen X gay on this panel. You're fine.
Perfect. I'll piss you off whenever I want.
Go for it. I will say this. Watching You Drive Me Crazy, which is a video I like, there's a weird 1950s like sweet shop element to this. And I feel like at one point there was a storyline that they just completely got rid of. And then by the end of it, like, they're all bartenders. It's very strange. But Curtis, talk to me about Me Against the Music.
I love that Me Against the Music starts like a fucking Mazda ad. I'm just going to put it out there. So both Brit and Madonna look smoking hot in this video. It takes place in an underground sex club / Sbarro. What?
That's my dream location.
Madonna lives out her voyeur fantasy, feeling herself up and doing weird yoga while Britney gets lost in the world's worst funhouse maze. There weren't even mirrors. It was just like crates up against the wall. This sex club has everything. Men with cigars, two-way mirrors that don't work, a forbidden fall-time sex swing room. The girls have their final dance-off, and then Madonna phases through a wall. But you know what? This one's for Andy Sachs. If my boyfriend had to work for his crazy boss on my birthday, I would not guilt him and make him feel bad when he's just trying to build a career for himself. So fuck you, Adrian Grenier. For the sheer audacity and batshitness of this music video, I'm going to give it to Me Against the Music. And the dance circle in Crazy is so cringe.
Also, fuck you, Adrian Grenier from Entourage. That is a truly terrible show. Jake, where are you on this one?
I will say also, as a fellow Mazda owner, Curtis and I both are drivers of a Mazda CX-5. This podcast is not sponsored by Mazda.
Yet.
We can dream, zoom, zoom.
Mm-hmm.
But that and the fact that, I'm sorry, Trey, but I do love Madonna, and I think having the Princess of Pop and the Queen of Pop in one video and how instrumental or how important Madonna has been in influencing Britney's career, it's much better than You Drive Me Crazy.
Love her all you want. I'm just nervous for everybody to get all those splinters and tetanus in that music video.
Fair point.
That's fair.
But I mean, that's also my sex dungeon, so who am I to judge? I'm going to stick with Me Against the Music here, but you did a great job talking about You Drive Me Crazy, Trey, and we will be moving Me Against Music into round 2. Next, it's another unanimous victory, this time for 1 seed Oops, I Did It Again, which left 4 seed Overprotected quite vulnerable. Next, the majority of the panel wants to keep playing the field with 2 seed Womanizer, but I am ringing the alarm for 3 seed Work Bitch. Trey, tell us why we can play brand new, but you know exactly what Womanizer is doing. I will try to get you all to pick up what I'm putting down for Work Bitch. I'll go first. Work Bitch is one of the later videos on our bracket, coming from 2013's Britney Jean album. But for a later video, it's quite successful. In fact, 387 million views on YouTube. It is right up there with Womanizer's 388 million. Is there a narrative to Work Bitch? I don't know. Certainly, she is putting her female dancers through their paces via a quasi-sub-dom relationship that includes a pack of them on leashes, Britney with a whip, and another dancer with a speaker capsule mouth gag, which, stealing from my next orgy, thank you, Britney. Really, the video is all about the aesthetic, and Britney looks wonderful here. Britney by the pool, Britney in a desert, Britney in a metallic club, Britney at the desk with her signature fragrance. We live for the product placement, by the way. Britney surrounded by sharks, Britney on an upside-down pyramid. The lip sync and the dancing are, shall we say, less intense than maybe we would have gotten from classic Britney, but the star power remains undeniable. That being said, Trey, you're going to talk to us about Womanizer.
Yeah, absolutely, because who doesn't love a music video where a basic and handsome blonde man gets beat up by a sexy woman in various costumes? Mm-hmm. I watched this video on repeat when I was in college. I was obsessed, and it might have something to do with Brandon Stoughton, but the basic but very handsome blonde man that he abuses by slapping him, throwing him into a copy machine, serving him a disgusting-looking square sunny-side-up egg. I wanted to be both of them in this video. Mm-hmm. Also, Britney conceived this video as a sequel to Toxic, which is just rapidly moving through our bracket. Going so far as to have one of the actors from the Toxic video, the man that she pushes into the bathroom and then changes him into a handsome model. He is also in the background of Womanizer after she pushes Brandon Stoughton into the copy machine. Boyfriend is back there getting a coffee, watching abuse happen. It's immensely more watchable and more fun for me than a video about the song of the joys of capitalism with Work Bitch.
And that is true. I will say, does that mean we have a Britney cinematic universe? I think we do. And
I hope so.
Yeah, and where is the Britney Avengers is my question. I'm not sure who would be on it, but discuss.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Peter, Paul, and Mary. Good throwback. Jake, where are you on this one? Is it Work Bitch or is it Womanizer?
I'm going to go with Womanizer. I agree with Trey. It's a great video. It's so camp. And I just love her black wig in the office scene. It reminds me of Edna Mode's hair from The Incredibles.
Yes.
We talked about questionable acting earlier, and I also enjoy questionable wigs.
Mm-hmm. I will say that is the sexiest Edna Mode cosplay I've ever seen. I actually love her in that scene. She's very sexy in it. Curtis, where are you? Is it Womanizer or is it Work Bitch?
It's Womanizer, and you stole my joke, so I have nothing pithy to say.
Damn it. Sorry. Cheerfully withdrawn. So we will be moving Womanizer into round 2. Next, another unanimous decision with 1 seed I'm a Slave for You, locking down the votes in favor of 4 seeds Sometimes. But I do want to speak on Sweet, Simple Sometimes. Britney in all white, dancing on the pier, is precious, innocent, and she is so emotive in this video. She's so pretty, and it seems like she's enjoying herself. I think it's one of her loveliest videos, and it is to Britney as cherishes to Madonna. Sorry, Trey, to inflict that on you again. And I do find it so fascinating that the fandoms for both of them collectively just shrug, because we did Best Madonna Music Video, and like Cherish barely made it into the top 32. So there you go. That being said, it still had 333 million views, so Britney's doing just fine. We will be moving Slave for You into round 2. Next, the majority of the panel has decided that their loneliness ain't killing them no more, preferring the 2 seed Stronger moves into the next round, while Jake thinks there are 2 types of people in this world: people who prefer circus and people with no taste. Curtis, tell us why there's nothing in Stronger's way. Jake, put on a show as you defend circus. Jake, please go first.
All right, so I am judging this debate on a few criteria, and that is production value, choreography, and how influential that this music video has been onto pop culture. I think just in this era in general, this is Circus came out during the time of Bad Romance, Teenage Dream. I mean, talk about some powerhouse music videos, but that being said, this is her lead single from her album Circus, and much like Curtis was referencing earlier, this video has everything: ribbon dancers, contortionists, a mime on stilts, and in the second verse, she's on a chair, whipping with a whip, wearing a nude bra covered in leaves. What more could you ask for? I think it's a very powerful video. She has 2 elephants in it, which I'm sure PETA loved. And the video ends with her in the spotlight as the ringleader. And I think of this video as commentary of her really reclaiming her title of Princess of Pop right after Blackout came out. It has strong dance moves. It has everything we love about Britney in a Britney music video. It's from the same director as Slave for You, and she looks healthy and happy.
Jake, you killed that. That was a great argument. Curtis, talk to me about Stronger.
I'm sorry. Circus is just a 3.5 minute long Bulgari ad. For a video that starts out with beautiful jewelry and perfume, it just felt so low budget to me the entire time. For me, there is a single piece from the Stronger video that is enough for it to move forward over Circus. And I bet I don't even have to say what it is, because it is so iconic, so Britney, that it is etched into the pop culture space-time continuum. A good 50% of that video is basically a Gestalt empty chair therapy session. If you know, you know. So I want to talk about my rubric.
I'm changing my vote.
Clint Eastwood could never.
Never. I want to talk about my rubric, which was choreo, story, how well does the video fit the song, the outfits, and then guest stars for bonus points. So from my rubric, choreo for Stronger is so much more pared down from her normal music videos up until this point, which I love. It was very different. You gave us the Peer music video, which was like very sweetie, but this is her. You see her and not her backup dancers. The story of being stronger than any relationship and walking away from someone who treats you poorly is beautiful. And while the CGI is definitely from the year 2000, Stronger is, to me, a far better and more important video for Britney.
You guys are coming in swinging. I love it. Because, Jake, you had convinced me. You had literally convinced me, and then I'm getting pulled back. Just when I thought I was out, Curtis is pulling me back in. Trey, where are you? Is it Circus or is it Stronger?
I am sticking with Stronger on this one. Curtis kept me.
He kept you. Yeah, I think he took me back, Jake. I'm sorry. Were you actually swinging your vote back to Stronger?
I was. I mean, Curtis made a convincing argument. I mean, I love that reference. I'm just I'm switching my vote to Stronger.
The power of that empty chair. Well, great job. We'll move Stronger into round 2. Next, it's one more unanimous decision in round 1, as all of the boys and all of the girls are begging for 1 seed one more time to hit them into the next round, meaning that 4 seed If You Seek Amy will be playing with itself outside of our bracket. Trey, you wanted to talk about Amy.
Yeah, Amy, If You Seek Amy is such a fun song and a fun video for me. I remember this song came out and the video came out while I was in college, and one of my best friends was named Amy, and I said, Amy, you have to watch this video. And the look of horror on this little white Christian girl's face as she understood what If You Seek Amy stood for, and then walked out of my dorm room like a good white Christian girl should. Bless you, Amy. Bless you.
You never saw her again.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, it's a fine. I actually think the joke of the song title is the best part of the video. But at least we talked about it. We will be moving one more time into round 2. Finally, in round 1, it's a bit of an upset, as the majority of the panel is choosing 3 seed every time, but I'm taking a chance on 2 seed Lucky. Jake, notice me. Take my hand as you explain why every time should move forward. I will explain why I cry at the thought of losing Lucky so early. I'm going to go first. So, first of all, this is a story about a girl named Lucky. This is a narrative video with Britney playing both a bored, trapped movie star named Lucky and I guess the actual person inside of Lucky, desperate to break free from the prison of her showbiz life. It's not really clear, but honestly, it's scarily prescient for what Britney's own life and career would become. Released in 2000, off Britney's second album, she's such a baby in this video. She is, if I may, not a girl, not yet a woman. It has 191 million views on YouTube, making it one of her less successful core era videos. That's a shame, but I wonder if it's because I think there's only a low def version of it, and boy, is it low def. Like, someone please make a high def version of this video. That said, Britney looks stunning in the old Hollywood outfit. She's emoting. She's actually really good in the scenes where Lucky drops her nice girl act and expresses her emotions, snapping, "Finally, we've done it 50 million times." The morphing technology at the end of the video, from one Britney to another, is unnecessary and awkward, but is very much of its time. At the end of the video, the plot is unresolved. Will Lucky find happiness? What is missing from her life? We may never know. But Jake, talk to me about Every Time.
No, that's a really good argument, Eric. But what I will say about this round, I find it interesting because just like Lucky, Every Time is also a narrative video. It's also very depressing and prophetic. But that being said, 2 things can be true. And I think it's a great video. I mean, let's just set the scene. She starts out being hounded by photographers. In one scene, she actually gets hit by a camera, but keeps on walking. And then she gets in a fight with her boyfriend, or who we think is her boyfriend, and then ends up committing suicide in a tub with her Kabbalah bracelet, some more Madonna influence. Mm-hmm. And she did clarify in her in the press tour for this that it was not to present suicide in any sort of positive light, because that was a big controversy of this. But I think the song has 2 meanings. Like I said, it's about her struggle with fame, but as we know now from her book, The Woman in Me, she was also pregnant at the time with Justin Timberlake's baby, and she had an abortion when she wanted to keep the baby. And at the end of this music video, you see Britney looking out over a newborn baby and then wakes up realizing her death and this dream was just a morbid fantasy. So I think it has a deeper meaning because of that. It's so different from her other music videos, but it's also, much like Lucky, a great commentary on her own life. But I think just because how different it is and now the deeper meaning that we know from her memoir, which shout out to Michelle Williams, great choice in a narrator, I'm going with Every Time.
Jake, that was an awesome argument. I think you've swayed me already. Trey, where are you? You sticking with Every Time?
I'm sticking with Every Time. It's just such a beautiful, sad video.
It's a beautiful song.
It is. It's a gorgeous song. Curtis, what about you?
Yeah, Jake, skunked you, I think is the way they put it in sports. So
I think sports? Yeah. So it's I'm changing my vote. I literally am. Great job, Jake. And so it's going to be unanimous for Every Time going into round 2. And that's the end of round 1, folks. We're going to take a quick break to take a sip from our Devil Cup. We'll be right back after these messages.
$5. In this economy, that won't buy you much. But at the Great Pop Culture Debate, $5 goes a long way toward creating the quality programming you're currently enjoying. $5 won't buy you a burrito, a frappuccino, or a movie ticket. But it can definitely buy you a zinger, a laugh, and a hit of nostalgia. Please consider heading to patreon.com/Great Pop Culture Debate and joining us today.
And we are back for round 2 of our Best Britney Spears music video debate. Before we get into the Elite 8, I want our panelists to share their social media accounts, what else they're working on, and also their first Britney memories. Curtis, do you mind starting us off?
Sure. So I'm on various social media sites at Curtitch, Curtitch, but I don't really post anything, so you can just go heckle me there. Britney was, I'm so sorry, Trey, Britney was my Madonna. So I am of the elder millennial generation and was in high school when Baby One More Time, like right around that time. I was just getting into high school when Baby One More Time was coming out. It was, forgive the cum joke, it was seminal for me. She was everything. And honestly, it made me realize, like, Britney Spears made me realize I was truly gay. Because I was, like, coming to terms with things. And I realized, like, if I can look at that beautiful girl and not be turned on at all, clearly I must be a homosexual. So the music, the videos, it didn't matter. Britney was everything for me. And I'm really appreciative of her. I'm so sorry that it cost her so much to get to where she went. But I am really grateful for her. And Britney, if you're listening to this, I know you wanted to move to Boston. So let us know, because a lot of us are here.
Yeah, you got a lot of gay folks in Boston who are ready to welcome you with open arms. And I do want, encourage my panelists. I really want to celebrate Britney on this episode because, my God, she has given this culture so much, especially the gay culture, if we're being honest. And I think she's been given such a raw deal by culture and society in general. So I encourage all of you to speak your piece about Britney. This is a celebration of not only her music videos, but her as an artist. So thank you, Curtis. Jake, what are your socials? What else you're working on? And your kind of first interactions with Britney?
Sure. My socials are J Taesoo. That's J and then TAESOO _. That's my Instagram and also my Venmo. That's so funny.
Oh my God.
I'm working on myself. And my first memories of Britney were that her first album, Baby One More Time, was actually my first album, which I think also made me gay. It didn't make me realize that I was gay. It just made me gay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also had Stronger on a hit clip, if anybody remembers what hit clips were.
I do.
They were almost like little floppy disks, but they were maybe like an inch tall, well, not even that big. And you'd plop them in. It would only play one song, and it would only have one earbud. So it had great sound quality, like Dolby Atmos. It was amazing.
Baby.
So yeah, that's what Britney was very formative in that way. But yeah, I mean, I think she deserves so much for what she's done for pop culture. She is my Mount Rushmore. She is my Roman Empire. She is everything. She is Roe. She is Wade. She's Britney bitch.
She's Britney bitch. Thank you so much, Jake. That was lovely.
I think you could get hit clips at Wendy's. I feel like I got mine in like an extra value meal from Wendy's. No?
That's incredible. The 2000s were wild. Trey, what are your socials? What are you working on? And what's your experience with Britney?
You can follow me on most things at TKRB3, and 3 is the word spelled out with the THREE. I'm also an embroiderer, so you can find me. That's what I'm also working on. You can find me on Instagram mostly at Bear Left Embroidery. That's bear as in the animal or the subgroup of gay men. Left because I'm left-handed, and embroidery like the stabbing of fabric all over Instagram. Britney didn't make me gay. I was a country kid growing up, and so we really only experienced Britney on the Disney Channel. When they would show her videos there sometimes, and only if we listened to 102.5 Kiss FM as we were driving to Des Moines or something. But I remember distinctly seeing the Baby One More Time video on Disney Channel, just going, this is fun.
Yeah. It makes an impression, right? It does.
Yeah, and I love Britney, but she is not my Mount Rushmore, but she is right there in the national park.
Love that. She's your Yellowstone. She's Old Faithful. Is that fair? Or she's young,
that's a different state, but sure, we can go with Old Faithful.
Forever ageless faithful. Thank you, Trey. And you can find me at Eric Rezsnyak on Instagram, or just message at Great Pop Culture Debate on Insta or TikTok, or at GPCD on Mastodon. But what you really need to do is to sign up for our weekly newsletter, new every Tuesday at noon, that tells you about everything new in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. I remember walking around my college campus listening to the radio, yes, the radio, on my Walkman. Thank you. I am a Gen Xer, so I am basically 80% dust, and thinking that Baby One More Time was incredibly catchy, and not being at all surprised when she very quickly became a major pop culture force. Britney had innate star quality right from the start. There was no debate. As soon as her second song came out and it was like, okay, she's here forever. Like she is solidified. And she is. She's still with us 20-something years later, and she has had a challenging road, and justice for Britney. Leave Britney alone, unless you're going to celebrate her like we are now. So that being said, it's time for a Patreon shout out. This one is for Sarah Muzinski. I hope I pronounced that right, Sarah, who has been a supporter since June 2023. Thank you so much for your support. If you'd like to get a shout out on a future episode, become a supporter on patreon.com/Great Pop Culture Debate today. Now let's move into round 2 so that we can go dive to the bottom of the ocean to find that old lady's necklace. I think it may be another unanimous victory for ultimate number 1 seed Toxic, from which there was literally no escape for 2 seed Me Against the Music. But we have yet to say a single word about Toxic, so Jake, please give us a taste of that poison paradise.
All right, let me get into Sophia Petrillo mode. Picture it, Hong Kong, 2004. You're on a private jet, and Britney Spears is out for revenge. I did a little research on this video, and I love that when she was talking to the director, she's like, I just want to murder my boyfriend and be naked and covered in diamonds. And he said, yes.
Relatable content queen. Yep.
Right? This music video begins with her on an airplane. She is a hot flight attendant. And after serving some beverages, she accidentally spills one onto a seated male. And then later brings another male into the bathroom who's middle-aged and overweight. And the person, and then Britney
sitting
takes
right here,
off
but go on. Yes.
And Eric made a cameo in the video. That I think that was one of Curtis's criteria on his rubric was cameos. Great job. And then she pulled off Eric's face and revealed somebody else who she seduced. She was then just on a motorcycle, a Ducati, in a black catsuit, and a Mission Impossible moment, dodging labor, dodging lasers with her dance moves. And at the end, she is back with another man who she just pours poison into his mouth and kills him. Which we love.
Yeah.
And I think this video is incredibly iconic. I know we use that word a lot on this podcast, but I think when I started when I knew I was being picked for this podcast, the first Britney Spears music video that I thought of that would be at the top of my bracket was Toxic. And it's because, like I said earlier, it has everything that you love in a great Britney Spears music video. It has great choreography. It has a great storyline. She has amazing looks. It is a certified bop. She has 3 different wigs. And opposite of Womanizer, she is a man-eater. And I love that she plays on that theme a lot. And I agree, and I think, and I stand by this, if this video was made today, and if the song was made today, it would still be as big.
I agree, actually. Yeah, it completely holds up. It also has murder, and I'm 100% here for women just taking out the men. So great job, Jake. I'm glad we got to at least put Toxic on the map, and we will be talking about it next in the Final Four. Next, the majority of the panel wants to keep playing with our heart by pushing through 1 seed Oops, I Did It Again, but Jake has got our crazy and wants to keep seeing 2 seed Womanizer. I will explain why I still get lost in the game with Oops. Jake, be oh so charming. You can do it. As you argue for Womanizer, Jake, please go first.
All right. I think I'll admit, I think I could be swayed to Oops. But I do love this video. I think, again, much like Toxic, as Trey noted earlier, this is the sequel to it. And it starts off much like in Toxic, when she's covered naked in diamonds. She's just naked in a sauna, which I like to reenact that scene every time I go to an Equinox. Mm-hmm. And then she is at her cubicle, very relatable, like most of us in our 9-to-5s. And then she just starts attacking this man. She is in a black Edna Mode or Ina Garten wig. Mm-hmm. Again, with the questionable wigs. And that's probably my favorite look out of top 5 favorite looks out of all of Britney Spears music videos is that office scene with that black wig. And it's a great song, but I can see I had a hard time with this. So I could easily be swayed to Oops.
So let's talk a little bit about Oops. It was released in 2000. It feels definitively of that moment, right? It's highly saturated colors, like all music videos from that time. High concept. It's set on Mars? ? There's a Titanic reference. It makes absolutely no narrative sense, but that is not the point. Britney in the red pantsuit is fucking iconic. This is a much more confident, assertive Britney than what we saw in Baby One More Time. There's great choreo. Britney's fully connected to the camera. She's got swag. She's terrific in this video. She's playful. She's coquettish. She's in control. She's a baller. The special effects sure are special. The guys pulling the levers on the side of the set are very Allentown. I live. And then the whole thing is a wild millennial fever dream. And girl, I am living. It has 458 million views on YouTube. Trey, where are you on this one?
I will always vote for Oops, I Did It Again.
All right. Curtis, is it Oops or is it Womanizer?
You said pantsuit, which really gave me like Hillary Rodham Clinton vibes. That is a red, probably pleather catsuit.
Catsuit.
And that is why I'm voting for Oops, I Did It Again.
I am sorry for the slander that I did just unintentionally put onto Britney Spears. Britney does not wear pantsuits. It's not a Chico's kind of day. This is definitely a catsuit, and it is fucking fierce. So I believe that's 3, or are you sticking with Womanizer, Jake?
No, I'm going to Oops. I think you made a really convincing argument. As much as I love Toxic and The Office and Womanizer is a play on both of those, I have to go for Oops. And that red jumpsuit, catsuit.
Catsuit, whatever suit. It's pussy. And it's moving into the Final Four. Next, the majority of the panel remains in the thrall of 1 seed I'm a Slave for You, but Trey has intense feelings for 2 seed Stronger. Curtis, tell us why you want to keep on dancing all up on Slave into the Final Four. Trey, make sure your loneliness in this bracket isn't killing Stronger's chances. I'll have Trey go first.
So my loneliness absolutely killed me earlier today as I was rewatching the videos, and I swayed myself away from Stronger. So I am absolutely changing my vote over to Slave for You. So if Curtis wants to keep his argument, he absolutely can. And Curtis also gave such a great defense of Stronger earlier in the podcast. The only thing that I want to add to that is apparently what Britney said to the music director when she came to him with the concept for Stronger. She told him, I would like to dance in a chair and drive in a car and break up with my boyfriend. Those are your 3 elements. And then we get Stronger.
See, and who says she's not in control? Because I like that that's declarative, it's simple, and she is achieving her goals. Work, bitch. Literally. Thank you. Curtis, do you want to talk to us about I'm a Slave for You? We haven't talked about it yet.
Sure. So in my opinion, this is where it was going to start getting hard because I love both. As I mentioned earlier, Stronger is one of my favorite Britney's music videos, but S4U, which is what I'll call it from here on out, was pivotal for me. I was in my freshman year of high school, really just coming out to myself. Like I was figuring out who I was, but this was the one. This was the video that made me gay because like I mentioned earlier, if I didn't look at that beautiful, sweaty woman and become aroused, then nothing was going to make it happen. From my rubric, in my opinion, the single take dance break in this video is the strongest choreo of any video that she has made. And that's kind of the thing, like the big dance number where they're in the abandoned Asian bathhouse, which is...
That's my house.
Nonsensical. Sweaty teens dance for rain in an abandoned Asian bathhouse. But the dance break in that was apparently one take, which is amazing. The video in and of itself fits the music so well. The outfits are amazing. So much skin showing on everyone in that video, not just Britney. It's basically softcore porn. And while to my knowledge there are no guest stars for bonus points, the video does not need them.
Great points. Jake, where are you on this one?
I'm with the Asian bathhouse on this one. I will just say, I'll talk more about this later, but Britney Spears is many things, but she's a great wordsmith. And when she says, leave behind my name and age, I never really quite understood it. And so I used leave behind my Nemone. Like,
that's my name.
Nemo.
That's my name. For the people that cannot see this podcast, we all have names that we can put in when we join the room. And my name is Leave Behind My Nemone because that's what I thought she was saying.
Same.
All right. Excellent. So we are going to move Slave for You into the final four. Finally, in round two, Trey is again on the outs as he continues to push 3 seed every time, but the rest of us are living out schoolgirl fantasies with 1 seed Baby One More Time. Trey, explain why every time you try to fly, you fall. Curtis, how are we supposed to know that One More Time should make it to the final four? Trey, please go first.
Do I think I'm going to win this argument? No. Am I going to try? Yes, ma'am, because I have to work, bitch.
Yes.
Does it have anywhere near as many views every time the video as Baby One More Time? Not at all. Baby One More Time has almost 1 billion views on YouTube. Last I checked, 964 million. Every time, 173. It is million. It is small, but it is mighty.
Yeah.
This video just makes me so sad for her, and it feels very much like a I wish we knew then what we know now scenario.
Yeah.
Like Jake was talking about earlier, the video is Britney kind of reflecting on her toxic relationships and her fame and the dreadful stories that are running around from her from Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake had just released Cry Me a River, which was supposedly about her after their breakup. And so she wrote this song as kind of an apology to him and to the world, which she never needed to do. And the paparazzi are following her and harassing her in this video. A woman beats on the car, and we are afraid for Britney like we are all afraid for J-Lo as Selena at the end of that movie.
Good reference.
A paparazzo hits her in the back of the head, like Jake said, with a giant camera, and that's where the blood comes from. So she's not committing suicide in the video. That was the original conceit of the video. But when that treatment came out, there was such backlash that they went, nope, oops, it was just an accident, and then it's kind of a fever dream. So she's still got her Kabbalah bracelet, like Madonna told her to, but the blood, it was an accidental potential murder on it. Britney's boyfriend throws tabloids at the gaggle after she sees them, and then she dies. She walks to this hospital looking back on her life or forward, and she actually saves herself. And I honestly, as I was watching the video today and just thinking about all of this, I really started to cry. I honestly started to cry because of all the garbage she's been through. So, what I'm hoping is that we will advance the music video that is a woman's cry for help rather than the one that glorifies a creepy sexual fantasy of a Catholic schoolgirl in Baby One More Time.
So that's a very compelling argument. And I think a well put one. So thank you very much, Trey. That was very compelling. Curtis, are you sticking with Baby One More Time here?
No.
Ooh, he swayed you.
So I am putting you on notice that my vote is not secure.
Okay.
Because also in rewatching these videos to prepare for this episode, I fell in love with Every Time. It is the strongest story of any of her videos. There is no choreo. And while the outfits are still amazing, they're not like the typical bodycon and skin showing stuff that we normally see. The video is raw. It is a plea for help, and not enough people took it as such. I do think that there's something to be said about the primacy argument of Baby One More Time, but first does not mean best. It means first. And you know what? Because of seeding, Hit Me Baby One More Time, HMBOMT, being a one seed, it doesn't really matter unless one of you all switch. So, Trey, we could drown one of them in the bathtub, but otherwise, I don't think it actually matters.
Nice try. My mom already tried to do that, and it didn't take. Jake, are you with Baby One More Time, or have you been swayed to Every Time?
I'm going with Every Time. I mean, I think when I originally voted for Baby One More Time, it's because it was the first, as Curtis was just alluding to. But the story in Every Time is just so prophetic. And as depressing as it is, it really has two meanings. That with her complicated relationship with Fame, but also, as I talked about earlier, with her pregnancy at the time. So I think just the storyline is stronger than any of her other videos. And I'm going with Every Time.
So well done, Trey. You swayed them. I will say we've barely talked about One More Time, and I do want to at least talk about it. So even if it is going out here, and I don't necessarily think that's the wrong choice, right? It is a very important piece of pop culture, right? It not only introduced Britney Spears to the world, I think it also had a profound impact on music videos from that time. I don't remember anything like that immediately preceding One More Time. It was like a shot. And what it has going for it, it gave you the dance pop moves in the choreographed numbers. It 100% leaned, as Trey referenced, on schoolgirl fantasy, on sexualizing teens in a way that at the time, I'm sure some people were like, well, this is problematic, but most people were like, oh yeah, Kool-Aid Man style, right? She is great in this video. It is a star-making performance, and she's great in the dance. She's beautiful on the video. She gives us a little bit of acting, emoting with it. The storyline makes absolutely no sense. None. The outfits are actually kind of ridiculous. The pink furry things in the hair, but it is literal iconography for Britney Spears. You cannot deny this. That being said, it is a better video than Every Time. I think 3 out of 4 of us say no. And so I'm just going to do one more check. You're sticking with Every Time, Curtis?
Yep.
Jake?
Yes.
And I'm sure that you are, Trey.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. We have our final 4. We're going to take
That was the first time I've ever swayed anybody during one of these podcasts, so I think I'm going to have to retire now.
Britney is so proud of you. With that, we have our final 4. We're going to take a quick break to get in the zone, specifically the Starbucks mobile pickup zone, as Britney would want. We'll be right back after these messages.
Another email newsletter? God, I know. But listen, the Great Pop Culture Debate newsletter, it's actually useful. Give us 3 minutes of your lunch break, and we'll tell you all the coolest new stuff in pop culture that week. The biggest new movies in theaters, the hottest new albums about to drop, the TV shows everyone will be talking about. We bring it to you every ball. It's all thriller and no filler, and you'll also find out all the fun news from the podcast. Subscribe today at greatpopculturedebate.com/subscribe.
And we are back with the final 4 of our best Britney Spears music video debate. At this point in the show, I always like to take a step back and see if it shook out the way I expected to. We have 1 seed Toxic versus 1 seed Oops, I Did It Again. Yep, those both make sense. 1 seed I'm a Slave for You versus 3 seed Every Time. Absolutely a shock that Every Time made it to the final 4 and that Baby did not. I'm sure there are some people like, what just happened? But I do maintain that there have been very strong arguments that pushed Every Time to this point. And if we're talking about the best Britney Spears music videos, it does something that none of the other ones on this list do in this final 4. Is it a better video quality-wise than Baby One More Time? I think we've made the argument convincingly that it is. Is it the more important video than Baby One More Time? That's up for debate, but that's not what the name of this debate is. It's the best. And so I do think that it makes sense that it's here. So let's jump into this final four. It's 1 seed Toxic versus 1 seed Oops, I Did It Again. I want to start with Curtis. Where are you going to go?
This is another one that's really tough. Both of these are iconic music videos for any artist, much less for a single artist. The choreo in both is amazing. The outfits in both are amazing. The story in both is amazing. But from a how well does it fit the song point of view, I do think that Toxic edges out Oops, I Did It Again. Both videos are a little more out there, but Toxic makes a bit more sense than Moon Landing with Titanic accents. Yeah. And in the end, only one of these videos has a shirtless Tyson Beckford on a motorcycle, so I'm giving it to Toxic.
That's a fair argument. Jake Pitochelli, is it Toxic or Oops, I Did It Again?
I'm going with Toxic, and not just because of Tyson Beck, but that's a big part of it. Again, I think it has everything we love about a Britney Spears music video, but I just think in terms of production and choreography, Toxic does edge it out by a little bit.
Trey, is it Oops or is it Toxic?
Oops, I Did It Again is going to be the answer for me. As much as I enjoyed the Toxic video, I think because a little bit Oops does not make sense with its Mars landing and its the heart of the ocean Titanic reference, it also gives us one of those iconic dance moves that everybody was doing after this video with the heart move. Everybody I knew could do that song, that part of the song every time that song came on. And so because of that iconic move, I've got to go with Oops, I Did It Again.
So that's a good point. I do think that Jake made a point, and I don't remember which round it was. I guess it was 2, that Toxic, if you released the song and the video in 2024, would still hit just as hard as it did when it was released in 2004. Is that when it was released? I think that's actually quite notable. There's very few videos from that time period that could do that. And so I'm going to give it to Toxic for that reason. And also because it has what I'm pretty sure is an Alias, the TV series reference with the wig and the motorcycle sequence. I'm pretty sure that's a Jennifer Garner Alias reference. So Toxic moves into our final 2. Next, it's I'm a Slave for You, a 1 seed versus 3 seed every time. I'm going to start with Trey. Are you sticking with every time? Or are you going to go to I'm a Slave for You?
I'm going to stick it to every time. I'm going to keep every time. I know that that's the weird answer on this one. I think Slave for You is a fun music video, but because of the narrativeness of every time and just how different it is, I got to stick there.
Okay. Jake, is it every time or I'm a Slave for You?
Oh, this is so hard. And they're so different from each other.
They are.
I will say, as much as I love Slave for You, S4U, Asian bathhouses, and as much as I think that A Slave for You is her sexiest video, I think the storyline of every time, and it's the only music video that I watched that made me tear up of Britney's, and I think that in itself speaks volumes, and it does something that no other video does. So I'm going with every time.
Oh boy, this is so interesting. I did not see this going this way, folks. Curtis, is it I'm a Slave for You or is it every time?
I think we've run out of runway with every time. And I'm going to go with I'm a Slave for You. I love Every Time. It was an amazing video. I think I also teared up. It tells an amazing story. But from a best Britney Spears music video standpoint, it's I'm a Slave for You.
So I think we've kind of hit on the duality of Britney Spears in this particular matchup, where you have this sex symbol, right? In some ways, she's kind of like the 21st century Marilyn Monroe. And you also have the tragedy that comes with being this sex symbol. Like, they turned her into this product, and then they hated her for it, and they hounded her for it, and they really ruined her life in a lot of ways. I think that's really compelling. In terms of narrative strength, there's no question I would give it to Every Time. I am sticking with I'm a Slave for You here because I do agree with Curtis that in terms of if you say to someone, name for me 3 music videos by Britney Spears that you think are her best, I don't know that Every Time would make that list, but I'm pretty sure I'm a Slave for You would. It is a 1 seed. Every Time's a 3. So with 2 votes, I'm a Slave for You continues. But good job to everybody who got Every Time to this point. That was a Herculean effort, and I'm sure Britney would appreciate it. So we have a final 2 of 1 seed Toxic versus 1 seed I'm a Slave for You. I'm going to start smack in the middle. Jake Pitochelli.
Oh, there's things I love about both of them. Like I said before, A Slave for You, I think it's her sexiest video. I think it is Slut Pop before Kim Petras. And I think it's that iconic choreography that I could close my eyes and I could see it in my head. I've seen so many drag queens do it. I've seen it done in the Dancing with the Stars. It's still popular on TikTok. And I really hope that those sweaty, dehydrated dancers got some smart water and AC.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going with Toxic. Like I said, because this video and song, if it were dropped today, I stand by that it would be just as big. I think it is her best work.
Excellent. Trey, is it going to be I'm a Slave for You, or is it Toxic?
When I do these panels, I like to text some of my friends and family members about the topic, like name this, name that. And when I said, hey, name the best Britney Spears music video, probably 70% of the people that I texted said Toxic. And they're not wrong. Britney Spears' Toxic is wonderful. It's iconic with her diamond suit. And even like the stewardess outfit is also another wonderful costume. So I got to give it to Toxic on this one.
Curtis, is it Toxic or I'm a Slave for You?
When you look at the portfolio of videos that she has put together, there's a couple different threads. There's the sexy, there's the just beautiful outfits, there's the wigs, but there's also the story. And Toxic brings it to you every ball. Like it has every bit of that. It's an excellent story that is wild and out there and very Britney, but there's also choreography and there's also amazing. It's everything. Toxic is literally everything that makes a Britney Spears music video a Britney Spears music video.
Well, I'm going to make it a clean sweep. And I do think that Toxic, Jake, you nailed it in like round 2. Like, it's as good now as it was then. And I think it's going to be as good now for 20 years from now as it is currently. It is from a pop song perspective, very few things defy time that way, and that's what a star does, right? And I think that's kind of Britney's legacy. So there you have it, folks. Our pick for the best Britney Spears music video is Toxic. Do you agree? Do you think that this whole episode has been a circus? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. If you really enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to like and rate it on whatever platform you listen on. I want to say thank you to my panel. I apologize if I played with your hearts. I got lost in the game. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one. And remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. Hit me, baby, one more time. No, really, slap me like you mean it. I'm into that. It's overprotected, right? Not unprotected. I don't know why in my head suddenly I was like unprotected. Oh, I think I know why.
If you're a whore, do you like to drive, then this episode is for you.
It's for you.
This episode has been brought to you by Truvada and Mazda.